Imagine you're being stalked from the sky. Every time you go in or out of a building, it's recorded. Everybody you talk with, every place you drive or take public transportation. Your sky stalker can see through your windows, read your lips, could even use an infrared camera and see if you've lit a cigarette or what type of cigarette it is. Shouldn't this be illegal? When a celebrity gets a stalker, they get a restraining order. But if their stalker was the police, using a drone, right now there are virtually no laws or regulations that would or could protect them, or that could protect you. Being concerned about such things is genuinely all-American. You could say that our privacy concerns started with George Orwell, who ironically was British, with the publication of his book 1984, but in reality, the modern-day American concern about government snooping into our lives goes back before the American Revolution. When Thomas Jefferson lived in Paris, he communicated in code with his protege, James Madison, about their Federalist political enemies. Jefferson did it again when he became president in 1801, developing an even more elaborate code to communicate with his most trusted aide, Meriwether Lewis, out of fear that military officers in the American Army were reading President Jefferson's mail and that the military officers were thinking of pulling a military coup to overthrow his administration. The result was that Jefferson, on Lewis's suggestion, fired 2/3 of all the commissioned officers and cut the size of the Army by about 80%. Fast forward to today. Police helicopters, police trucks that can use infrared to see inside your house, and GPS units cops can attach to your car. In every case, there's a legitimate police use for these technologies, as well as an incredible potential for abuse. The Fourth Amendment, part of the Bill of Rights that Jefferson demanded Madison put into the Constitution as the price of getting Virginia's ratification, is one sentence long. It says, "The right of the people to be secure in their persons, houses, papers, and effects against unreasonable searches and seizures shall not be violated, and no warrants shall issue but upon probable cause, supported by oath or affirmation, and particularly describing the place to be searched and the persons or things to be seized." In other words, they can't spy on you personally, unless they have enough proof to bring before a judge that you're up to something that's probably illegal. In the case of the police helicopters, the trucks, the GPS units, the phone taps, the infrared cameras, to some extent, both state governments, Congress, and even the Supreme Court, particularly in the case of the infrared cameras, have brought their use into at least a marginal compliance with the Fourth Amendment. Not so with drones, at least not yet. And that's one of the reasons why the city of Charlottesville, Virginia, a stone's throw from Thomas Jefferson's home, you can see it standing there in Monticello, did a beautiful thing this week in passing a resolution calling for a ban, for the moment, on information derived from drones in their skies. The Rutherford Institute proposed the first draft of what ultimately became the resolution that was promoted by the Charlottesville Center for Peace and Justice. It included language that said, "Whereas the federal government and the Commonwealth of Virginia have thus far failed to provide reasonable legal restrictions on the use of drones within the United States, and whereas police departments throughout the country have begun implementing drone technology absent any guidance or guidelines from lawmakers, there should be a 2-year moratorium on using information obtained from them or on weaponizing them." That last part after the ellipsis is my summary of a paragraph of legalese. As David Swanson notes in his blog on the CCPJ website, without proper safeguards, these drones, some of which are deceptively small and capable of videotaping the facial expressions of people on the ground from hundreds of feet in the air, will usher in a new age of surveillance in American society. Not even those indoors, in the privacy of their own homes, will be safe from these aerial spies, which can be equipped with technology capable of peering through walls. And that doesn't even include the capability of those drones, police drones, to be weapon equipped, from bullets to nerve gas, or their ability to be hacked, or their data streams to be hijacked by malicious corporations, or weird stalkers, or foreign governments. You know, nobody is saying there's, or maybe there's a few, but pretty much nobody is saying there's no legitimate place for drones in police work in America. They're a heck of a lot cheaper than the helicopter, for example, that famously followed O.J. Simpson's car. At the most basic level, they're really just an extension of already existing and already used technology. And yet, as with any technology, think email, for example, or text messaging, we need to make sure that it's used in a way that complies with the Fourth Amendment, that respects our individual rights to privacy. And that's why it's way beyond time for us all to have a national conversation about drones over U.S. skies. With the help of the CCPJ, Charlottesville has taken a great first step in starting that national dialogue. Oregon, for example, has started a similar debate, with legislation introduced by both a Democrat and a Republican concerned about individual privacy rights. So let's all work for solid legislative restrictions on police use of these drones so that they help legitimate police work while respecting the Fourth Amendment privacy rights of us all.